Hi guys, if you're just joining me, welcome. This is the first lesson of our Saxon 7-6. This is for my 6th graders. For those of you who are following along at home, it is out of the Saxon 7-6 third edition. It's the nice yellow one. For those of you who don't have a copy of the book, that's fine. What we're going to be doing is going through and doing some examples and some of the practice problems. And I'll try and write those down as they come up so that you can do it. For those of you who are my students, now is the time to take out your 3-ring binder and turn to the section that is labeled notes or videos maybe. And this is where you're going to be taking down notes of the problems that I go over, okay? You'll also hear me say something like, write that down. That's probably an important one. Excellent. Okay, give me just a moment and we'll be right back. All right, guys, I apologize. I have 3 dogs, and while I'm recording this, you may hear them shaking their collars. One is a puppy that I just got, and he's being a little bit chaotic, so I apologize for the interruption. All right, as I mentioned, you're following along in this lovely book. We are on lesson 1, which means we are on page 1. We're going to talk today about adding and subtracting whole numbers and using money in order to do that. Money seems to be what everybody knows, and so it's an easier way of doing it. So on page 1, we have our first example, and that is 345. So 345 plus 67, so plus 67. So again, this is probably going to be a refresher for a lot of you, and that, if so, that is great. You are off to a good start in this class. But in order for us to do this, we are going to add in this column, right? So we know that 7 plus 5 is 12. 4, and since it's 12, we're going to carry that 1 up to the other column. And as a reminder, this is our ones column, our tens column, and our hundreds column. We'll get into place value a little more thoroughly in some other lessons, but just as a reminder, we want those, we've got to line those columns up nicely, right? So as I said, it was 12, right? And so we go ahead and we carry that 1 up to our other spot. Now we add 4 and 6 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. Again, we put our 1 here and we carry that 1, and we get 400, because 3 plus 1 is 4. We get 412. Okay, like I said, this is probably going to be a reminder for a lot of you, but it's a good way to get started to a good get off to a good start. Is what I meant to say. Okay, the other thing I want you to know, there are 2 vocabulary words that I want you to know. Sum equals add. Difference equals subtract. So we're going to, sum is add, difference is subtract. Write those down. You're going to want to remember those guys, okay? All right, so let's look at the next, so, and how that relates to our first one. The sum of 345 and 67 is 412. You'll notice I used a couple of other good language or English to math phrases there. I said 345 and 67, and usually means add, okay? Is, the word is, equals. Is means equals. Is means equals, okay? It's another good one to write down. All right, let's take a look at our second one. For our second one, now we're going to be talking about money, and just a refresh, when we talk about money, we have dollars, right? And those, in this example, it's going to be $1.25. So this is our dollar, this is our whole dollar, and then this is the part of the dollar, right? Part. Before we go any further, I want to clarify one thing. If I were to write 25 cents, I could write it like this, or I could write it like this. But do you notice that, oh, and I think actually it goes on the end on these. Sorry about that. Do you notice that only one of these has decimals? What I'm saying here is, hey, this is a portion of a dollar, okay? Decimals are like fractions, and fractions are part and whole, that kind of thing. Anyway, this is a portion of a dollar, okay? What this is saying is that we have 25 whole cents. There's no fraction there because it's, or no decimal there because it's a whole number. You cannot mix these two. You can't do this. If you do this, what I'm going to tell you is you're saying, hey, that's 0.25, that's 25 hundredths of a cent. That's less than a penny, right? So you don't want to do those. So don't mix those two up, okay? So we like decimals. Most of the time you'll probably use it like this. I rarely see this out in the real world, but you will see it throughout this book. Okay, so for problem number 2, we have $1.25 $12.50. And $5. And now that $5 does not have a decimal in it, right? But if there's no decimal, write this down, no decimal, it's at the end. It's at the end of the number, okay? So in that case, make sure you've written that down. We've got a decimal here at the end. Now, when I'm dealing with decimals, I like to put in place fillers like this so that I can keep my numbers and my columns all nicely lined up. Also, did you notice that I lined up all those decimals? That's really important when you're working with decimals. You want to get those nice and lined up. Just like we did in our first problem, we're going to add this column. It's going to be 5. And then 5 plus 2 more is going to be 7. We bring down our decimal and we do 5, 6, 7, 8 we have there. And then this 1 gets brought down and we have $18.75. $18.75. Excellent. So let's talk about another one. We've got, for example, number 3, now we're talking about subtraction. And as I mentioned earlier, difference means subtraction. So when we're finding the difference between two numbers, for example, the difference between 10 and 7, we're subtracting. The difference between 10 and 7 would be 3, okay? So for example, number 3, we have 345 minus 67. Again, what we're going to want to do is make sure that everything's nice and lined up, right? So we've got our columns, and we're going to go ahead and find the difference between these two numbers. Now, with subtraction, if you have 5 minus 7, that's going to give us a negative number. So we need to borrow from our next column. So from here, we're going to borrow, which means now that this is a 3, and this now becomes a 15, okay? 7 and 7 is 14, so 7 and 8 give us 15. Now, 3 minus 6, that's going to be another negative number. So you want to be careful there. We're going to borrow, make this a 2. We're going to turn this into a 13. 13 minus 6. 6 and 6 is 12, which means 6 and 7 is 13. Okay? Now we have 2 minus, you can even put a little placeholder there if you wanted, a 0. So we just bring that 2 straight down. So 345 minus 67 gives us 278. 278. Now, that part where I was saying 7 and 7 is 14, therefore 7 and 8 is 15, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Those are called our fact families, and that makes, when you get into algebra, it makes it a lot easier. So we're going to so keep that in mind. I want to do one more problem, number 4, about subtracting dollar amounts. Again, this is going to be very similar to adding dollar amounts, it's just slightly different. So, example number 4, Jim spent $1.25 for a hamburger. He paid for it with a $5 bill. Find out how much change he should get back by subtracting $1.25 from $5. Now, here's another trick. $1.25, subtracting that from $5 does not work if we write it like this. The words subtract from, you want to flip those guys around. Flip it around. Flip it around. So, oh man, this is math tutoring, not spelling tutoring, right? Around. Excellent. So what we're going to do is it's actually going to be $5 minus $1.25. $5 minus $1.25. Okay. Good. So that's a key thing that I would like you to write down in your notes because you're going to want to remember that. So now we have $5 minus $1.25. $5. And again, if there's no decimals, looking at your notes, it's at the end. So I'm going to throw in 2 zeros just to make it nice and even here. Subtracting $1.25. $1.25 for that hamburger. Man, it's a cheap hamburger. Awesome. All right, from here, we have to borrow again. 0 minus 5 is going to give us a negative number. So we're going to borrow from here. However, we've got to turn this guy into a 9. And we got to borrow all the way. Whoop, what am I doing making that 15? Borrow this. This is going to be 4. Okay, that makes this a 10. But we need to borrow again over here. So we're going to make it a 9. Okay, it can be a little tricky. So 10 minus 5 is going to give us 5. 9 minus 2 gives us 7. We bring down our decimal and we get $3.75. $3.75. Now, there is another way to look at this, especially with quarters, right? Quarters and whole dollars here. if I have $1.25, and I'm gonna explain this, it may not make sense right away, but we will work on this, okay? So if I have $1.25 that I've spent out of $5, well, from $1.25 up to $2, that's gonna be 75 cents, right? 75 cents. If I go from $2 up to $5, that's gonna be, so this is 75 cents, that's gonna be $3, right? So think of it like a number line. You're going from the small all the way up to the big. That sometimes helps. $3.75, that was our answer. $3.75. Now, if that doesn't make sense, that's totally fine. We're gonna practice that a whole bunch. Stick with this, this way that we've done it in the past, okay? Excellent work. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this video, we are going to talk about fact families. Fact families are my favorite because they are going to help you when it comes to learning algebra, okay? So for example, they actually have an example on page 3, if you're following along at home. Page 3, right along here, we have our first fact family. It says 4 plus 5 is 9. Makes sense, right? That also means that 5 plus 4 is 9. We can take those and we can reverse them either direction, okay? Those are our addition facts. Now for our subtraction facts, we take the large number here. And here's actually a better way of looking at this. So if we add in this direction, you see that? We added 4 plus 5 gives us 9. We can actually subtract in this direction. That means 9 minus 5 will give us 4. 9 minus 5 will give us 4. So again, same thing over here. If we add in this direction, 5 plus 4 gives us 9. We can subtract in this direction, which means 9 minus 4 is 5. It seems pretty basic, but you're gonna hear me say this over and over again. If you add in this direction, you can subtract in this direction. So definitely get used to seeing that, okay? For example number 6, if you, example number 5, right? It says rearrange the numbers in this addition fact to form another addition fact and 2 subtraction facts. So this is example number 5. We have 11 plus 14 equals 25. And get used to this. You're going to see them written either vertically like this or horizontally like this. But that doesn't mean that our anything changes, right? With our addition facts, again, we can 14 plus 11, we can just swap those two, equals 25. Now, again, if you are adding in this direction, you can subtract in this direction. So that will give us 25 minus 14 equals 11, okay? If we are adding in this direction, we can subtract in this direction. So we have 25 minus 11 equals 14. So there are our 2 addition facts and our 2 subtraction facts, okay? All right, so let's take a look at example 6. We're gonna do another fact family. For example 6, it says 11 minus 6 equals 5, okay? Well, if we subtract in this direction, we can add in this direction, okay? So if we add in that direction, we get 5, and plus 6 is 11, right? Now we also know that we can rearrange our addition facts so that it can be 6 plus 5 is 11. And again, if we add in this direction, we subtract in this direction. So we get 11 minus 5 is 6. So we have our 2 addition facts and we have our 2 subtraction facts. Hopefully that makes sense. Excellent work. Okay, so now on page 4, you'll see that there are the practice problems. Practice problems. It's A through F. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and pause the video now, and we're going to work through those practice problems, okay? So pause the video, give those practice problems a try, and then come back and we will make sure that we can go over those together. Excellent. Okay, so we have 3,675, and we have 420 plus 426. Now it's written in the book it's written in the book horizontally. You'll see that I'm starting to write it vertically. That's because that's an easier way for me to add. I suspect that's the case for most people, but you can write it either way. Good. So we're gonna add all these guys together. Now notice I've lined up those columns so they're nice, right? So we have, we're gonna go ahead and add up all of these guys. 6 and 6 is 12, so 6 and 7 is 13, plus 5 more is going to be 18. Carry the 1. 5, 6, 7. 7 and 7 is 14, plus 1 more is 15. Carry the 1. This is 10, plus 3 is 13, plus 1 more is 14. Carry the 1. And then we have 1 plus 3 plus 1 gives us 5. So your answer should be 5,458. 5,458. Good. For B, we have $6.25 plus $8.23 plus $12, and that $12 does not have a decimal, so we know that the decimal goes at the end. We are going to add all of these guys together. Go ahead and pause if you haven't already tried this. I want you to try it on your own. When you come back, it is 5 plus 3, which is 8. 2 and 2 is 4. Go ahead and bring that decimal down. 8 and 2 is 10, plus 1 more is 16. 1 plus that other 1 is 2. And we have $26.48. $26.48. My dog has never been this crazy when I've been recording a video, so I'm so sorry, you guys, if you can hear him in the background. Puppies are crazy. He's right here. You want, Boris, come here. There he is. Bonus Boris there. All right, so I apologize. Usually my husband's home to deal with them. Okay, so that was B. Let's look at C. For C, we're going to do a subtraction problem, which means we're finding the difference between 5,374 and 168. Okay? Again, I've lined those up nicely so that I have all those place values in the same column. We have 4 minus 8, which we cannot do, so we're going to borrow. It's going to be a 6. This will become a 14, right? So 8, we get 6 here. 14 minus 8 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. 3 minus 1 is 2. And we go ahead and bring down that 5. 5,206. Now, you may be inclined to say 5,206. You are actually wrong. I said this earlier that and sometimes means a plus and can also mean decimal. So we do not have a decimal in this problem, therefore we don't say the word and. We say 5,206. So I still make that mistake sometimes though. You'll hear me say 5,206. I try and catch myself, but you should technically not say and. Okay, that was C. Now let's work on D. We have $6 and it doesn't have a decimal, so we're going to throw one at the end, minus $1.35. All right, and just like before, we can't actually borrow from this column, right? So we're going to make this a 10, but then we got to come over here to, we have to borrow from here to make this a 10, right? So this is now a 5. We've made this a 10, but we have to borrow, so that's going to be a 9, and now this is a 10. Hopefully that makes sense. 10 minus 5 gives 5. 9 minus 3 gives us 6. 5 minus 1 gives us 4. We have $4.65. Don't forget, if the problem starts with a dollar sign, you need to have a dollar sign in your answer. Okay, for E, it is telling us to arrange the numbers 6, 8, and 14 into 2 fact families, 2 addition facts and 2 subtraction facts, right? So our addition facts, 6 plus 8 will give us 14, right? And we know we can reverse our addition, so it can be 8 plus 6 gives us 14. Now, that trick, if you add in this direction, you can subtract in that direction. So we end up with 14 minus 8 gives us 6. If we add in this direction, we can subtract in that direction. Gives us 14 minus 6 is 8. Good. That was for E. That was for E. Okay, for F, rearrange the numbers in this subtraction fact to make another subtraction fact and 2 addition facts. We are given 25 minus 10 equals 15. Well, if we subtract in that direction, we can add in this direction, right? So we get 15 plus 10. I just now realized there's a rabbit outside. That's why my dogs are going crazy. I apologize. So if we subtract in this direction, we can add in this direction, which gives us 25, okay? Now we know that we can flip our additions around, right? So we can do 10 plus 15 equals 25. Now, if we add in this direction, we can subtract in this direction. Gives us 25 minus 15 equals 10. There are our two subtraction facts and our two addition facts. Excellent. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Good work. Thank you.